Hi, I'm Debbie Schaefer of the Well Mannered Dog located in beautiful Eugene, Oregon. So this morning I was on a walk and we ran across other dog lovers walking and enjoying the beautiful fall weather with their dogs. And I saw a lot of different types of leashes being used on those walks. I started wondering if the people who had their dogs on those walks understood the advantages and disadvantages, plus the safety and risks with the different leashes that they were using. So I thought I'll do a video on it. Each type of product has advantages and disadvantages, plus risks and safeties attached to it. One of the most common types of leashes is your fixed leash. It's usually between 4 and 6 feet long, but they can be as short as a foot long. So people who have really large dogs and they don't want the dog to really have the power of getting away from them, they might have just a 1 foot traffic lead to keep that dog really close. The leash doesn't expand in any way. This is your safest leash option. It's great for city walks, anytime you're indoors, high traffic areas. The disadvantage of that type of leash is that if you want to do anything in the line of distance games, coming when called, retrieving, you can't really get the distance in there. But it is the leash that gives you the most control and the best safety. So that's the one that I use the most. Now, in addition to that, we have a long line that's an option. A long line will be any type of leash that's longer than 6 feet. So you'll see them in 12 foot and 16 foot and 30 foot and 50 foot lengths. So with the long line, they do have some tripping and tangling issues that are involved. So if the dog starts off in front of you and reverts to go around behind you and comes up, obviously you could get tripped on all that dragging line. And a lot of people don't know how to store them. You put it away, and when you get it out, it's a tangled mess and a bit of a pain to untangle. So long lines are good when you do want some distance work. If I wanted to teach coming when called and I wasn't willing to bet $5,000 my dog would turn on a dime and come racing to me, I need an element of control. You can do retrieving games with a dog on a long line, so you can play those distance games, but for safety reasons, you need a dog that's not in an overly excited state, because if they're overly excited, they're going to get the power of the speed up so they can go at a fast speed. They're going to have that power, and there's a higher probability the dog's going to pull that leash out of your hands or blatantly pull you over. Not on purpose, but it'll happen because they have so much power when they have that speed behind them and the length of the leash to get that speed up. So we need them to not be overly excited. We need our attention to be completely on the leash and the dog while they're on these types of devices. I need to know if I'm going to get tangled, if there's going to be any hazards for me. They're washable, so that could be an advantage. They get dirty often because they're typically dragging on the ground. So disadvantage would be that they have to be washed often if you don't want dirty hands. And advantage is that they can be washed so that you can keep them clean. And then storing them. A lot of people don't know how to store them. You've got this big tangled mess, you're not going to use it. So what I do is I finger crochet the leash. You're going to make a loop. The handle of the leash is already a loop. And so you put your fingers into the loop, you slide leash into the loop, grab it with those fingers, pull up, and then pull down. Put the loop in and pull down. Put the leash into the fingers that are going between the loop and pull down. And with, a few minutes, you've got a length of leash that you've crocheted. It's not going to get tangled. So look, this isn't going to get tangled. And when I want to use it, all I have to do is pull and it completely uncrochets itself. So you can store it without rolling it in a ball. You can store it without it getting tangled and all in a mess. Now the third type of leash that is an option is a retractable leash. These are the most controversial. So most dog training facilities that are really into positive training and into safety don't allow these inside because of the safety issues. So a lot of people think the locking mechanism on these is going to hold, that if the dog pulls, that it's not going to come loose. And that's not the case. A lot of times when dogs pull, the locking mechanism releases. And you've got a dog shooting 30 feet away from you at a great speed. And the only option is either to take some impact, have your arm pulled, maybe be pulled over, or the leash is going to come flying out of your hands. And that's what I find happens most of the time, is the leash actually comes out of the person's hands because of the type of impact that the dog is having on their arm. It's unexpected. They're surprised. And so they end up in letting go of the leash. So we have a big safety issue with those becoming unlocked. We also have a large precedence of people losing fingers, losing body parts, typically fingers, because that leash will get wrapped around that body part and the dog will pull and it snaps it off. Rope burns are also a big issue with these retractable type leashes. So if you're using retractable, they do have some benefits in that it's not going to be dragging on the ground. So chance of tripping over it, you tripping over it, is less. Other people might trip over it, but you tripping over it is less. You don't have a tangled mess. You can't let sand get into them, otherwise they will immediately break. But you're not typically going to be washing them, and you don't have the storage issues. So I recommend, if you're using a retractable leash, that you're in an open area, that you have double the distance between you and any people, any dogs, any animals, any vehicles. That your dog's not in an excited state and you have your full attention on the dog. So there are some circumstances in which maybe one of those retractables would be an option. You're on a walk, there's no other dogs or people around, your dog's not really excited, your dog's out ahead of you, it's not zipping around behind you. They could be an advantage to you at that time. Each product has its advantages and disadvantages. Your job is to pick the right tool for each environment to keep your safety and your dog's safety in mind. But the big part is to also keep the safety of other people and other animals as a top priority. You get to choose the product, but safety of others as well as yourself has to be a top priority in the tool that you pick. So if you like this video or any of our other videos, go ahead and click the subscribe button so that you can make sure every time we post a new video that you get a notice saying a video has been posted. You guys have a great day.